The world of League of Legends has gone through truly amazing times this year. Early on, we had a massive update that turned Noxus from chaotic evil into neutral evil, Kassadin's long-lost daughter joined the fight, the mystery of Riven and Yasuo was finally revealed in an hour-long story, Runeterra finally got its own map, and simply put, the world of League of Legends has never been more alive. So it is not surprising to see that now that the ball is rolling, Riot is taking their world seriously, and they are looking in all directions for possible expansions of their story. Recently we learned that the next media that caught their attention are comic books, and today they released their first ever comic issue that begins a whole new journey. The creative development team at Riot, which are the guys responsible for short cinematics, music videos and now the collaboration with Marvel, managed to get us an early look at this first comic. This is not a sponsored video, but it is because of them that I'll be able to show you what the comic offers early. And because there surely are interesting things to mention, let's get into Riot's first ever comic. Ashe, Warmother. I feel like I should start by mentioning my comic book past. Quite frankly, I don't think there is one. I never really got into the superhero genre. I have never seen an Avengers movie, and the only thing related to superheroes in my house is this Aquaman figure. But that doesn't mean I am going in blind. I love comics that expand the world that I already know well. For example, the Mass Effect comics, or all the Warcraft graphic novels. So I have a decent library of comics to compare Riot's work to. And after reading Ashe Warmother, I am happy to say that Riot's done a good job in seamlessly implementing the story these comics offer into their world. Usually, comics are used to expand on an already set universe. While this is true for League of Legends as well, Runeterra still has tiny pieces that are being finalized. So here the comic functions as a patch to fill a hole in the Freljordian lore, as well as to expand on an already existing story. That would be the legend of the Three Sisters. And that's why this entire Marvel comic project is so unique. Riot chose to use it as a driving force to push the story of Runeterra forward. I'll avoid major spoilers because I don't want to just leak everything on the internet. But we will dive into the story of this first issue. So if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to leave now. But I don't think you have to. Because here comes my only serious criticism I have. This entire issue feels really short. Even though it is 24 pages long, it feels like 10 or 12 pages. The reason is that this first issue is a setup for what is about to come. There is a lot of world building and some useful reveals for future theory crafting, but when it comes to action scenes, nothing really happens. That's why the comic feels shorter. It's because you can easily blitz through the world building material without stumbling on a memorable moment. But that's not to say that there are no memorable moments. I can easily name at least 2. Also, you have to remember that this first comic is issue 1 out of 3. We know there will be 2 more comics to continue this storyline. At least it explains why there is so much world building in this first one. So now, what is the first issue about? While it follows Ashe on her journey through Freljord, she isn't really the main character here. That would be her mother, Grenna. Grenna is an Iceborn warrior who got to lead their people simply by proving herself worthy in combat. She is powerful but unfortunately very stubborn. She never listens to anyone and she forces her vision on everyone, regardless if you believe in her or not. And Grenna's followers are called the Bloodsworn. Seemingly, the main plot point of this comic is that the winter is coming, and the clan has to move into a safe place where they can survive. But later the plot reveals that's not really the case. Grenna has different reasons why they are on the move, but I will avoid revealing what it is, because it is the only real twist in this comic. Then the real world building starts. We learn who really are the Iceborn. The Iceborn are descendants of the civilization that came from the times of the Three Sisters, the legendary trio with the ability to wield true ice. Because of this, the present generations can use true ice weapons, but only after harsh training. Without the training, even a sliver of true ice can kill the wielder, or the foe. When Ashe was asked to prove that she is a true Iceborn by wielding true ice, she picked an axe as her weapon of choice. But she wasn't ready yet and she could not bear holding it through the pain, which shows us how tough you have to be to even hold true ice, let alone use it in battle. But all of this doesn't mean that everyone in Freljord is connected to the Iceborn. There are tribes that were never affected by the power of true cold. One example are the Hearthbound, determined people that travel with the Bloodsworn, but they don't have their strength or endurance. The introduction of the Hearthbound into the story also brought in another new character, Malcolm, who's a Frost Priest and Ashe's good friend. Frost Priests are powerful shamans of the north. They wield magic as a weapon as well as a healing tool, and Malcolm used his magic to support the Hearthbound on their journey with the Bloodsworn. He would heal the wounded, warm them up, or speed up their pace with a complicated spell, proving that magic isn't just pure evil. Although there are stories of priests that can tap into the eternal darkness, which can easily drive them mad. This is where we learned about Draklorn, brutal inquisitors in service to the cult of the Three Sisters. They represent what happens when a frost priest's mind snaps. As the world building continues, we learn about even more characters, such as Yrel the Ring, an old warrior wielding two massive hammers. I love his design, I hope this is not the last time we see him. He is one of Ashe's 5 Oath Fathers that were responsible for teaching Ashe how to wield weapons, fish or hunt. You know, the basics. This is where we also learned that Yrel gave Ashe's mother 3 births, but only Ashe survived till spring to get a name, which is an interesting fact. In Freljord, they don't name their kids for a while after their birth, because the chance of them dying soon after birth is really high. Later in the story, everyone arrived in enemy territory, the home of the Ice Children, likely another clan of the Iceborne descendants. Their arrival scared away the enemy Elnuk herders. The Elnuk, if you don't remember, are basically the goats of League of Legends. This meant that they had plenty of food to survive the winter. But Grenna, being the stubborn leader she is, knew that they retreated because they wanted to protect something more valuable. So instead of settling here in a safe place, she wanted to march on, which ignited a heated argument between her and Malcolm, who protected the Hearthbound. He wasn't their leader, that would be Ashe's aunt, but because she wasn't present, Malcolm had to speak for them. Fortunately, Ashe stepped in to stop an unnecessary death. In the end, the Hearthbound settled here, while the Bloodsworn marched on for 6 more days. Grenna was truly pushing them all to their limits. They were in enemy territory with no food and no rest. More character development happens as we get a hint of Grenna's different side, a side we haven't seen before. But then everything gets interrupted by an ambush, of who we assume are Draklorn, and Draklorn is the name of the next issue, so we know who the next comic will focus on. So that's the story of the first issue summed up. I avoided some of the plot points because they would ruin the reading experience. But remember that we will do a full cover of these Freljordian stories once Riot releases all of them together in a physical bundle. With it, it will also appear on Universe. That should happen in summer 2019. Now let's go back to some of the pages I showed you previously, because there are some cool moments worth mentioning. First of all, I absolutely love the looks of young Ashe. She has braided blonde hair, sleeveless vest, and she looks like a northern huntress. I would love to have this as a skin in Game Riot. Please, get on it. Another cool thing I noticed in the comic is the attention to detail. Near the beginning, there was a scene where Grenna dueled her sister, or Ashe's aunt, called Helner. By the way, she looks like a badass swordsmaster. They fought with true ice weapons that emitted true ice with every swing. And notice that they fought in a volley, right next to a big cliff. Later, there is a shot of Malcolm with Ashe on that cliff, and in the background you can see what damage those weapons caused. Another cool thing to point out is the fact that this entire comic is one long memory. The very first image you see at the beginning is present Ashe, with white hair and her current hood. It is possible that she is telling her story to someone, and we might get back to that present day in a future comic. Lastly, I want to talk about the aesthetics of the comic. The art style is beautiful. It is simple and it captures the feel of a Nordic culture. There is great attention to the contrast of colors between warmth and cold. When Ashe is talking to her mother at home, it's a warm room and the colors really pop out. But when they are stuck outside in the middle of a freezing night, saturation goes all the way down. It's to underline the grim, harsh climate. The artists have also done a really good job in capturing emotions. From panel to panel, the mood could flip upside down, but it always felt believable. I didn't notice any over-exaggerations, which is something that's used in comics a lot. But then again, this issue is supposed to capture the grim reality of living in deadly climates. So the less comic book effects you use here, the better. The last note I would like to leave you with are my overall feelings. As I said, unfortunately, the comic lacked big memorable scenes that would stick with me. But that will be definitely fixed when we get the physical release of all 3 issues. When you read it all together, the first issue will make more sense. And because of this, I think it might be better to just wait for the physical release. You can get this issue digitally for $5, which, as far as my research goes, that's a normal price for a comic issue. But I can't shake the feel that comic books are supposed to be collected. And especially since we know that the physical release will be objectively better, since A, it is physical, and B, you will get the complete story, I say be patient till it's all out. You will enjoy the story more when you read it all at the same time. Right now, it feels a little bit hollow. And that's because all the good stuff is about to come. Remember that these comics will be released monthly, and eventually they will appear on Universe for free. So you're not forced to buying them at all. Simply wait and they will be out for everyone. We don't have a specific date yet, but we know it will be in May 2019. This is when it will be free on Universe, and it is also when you'll be able to get the paperback physical version. Hey! Did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other league facts and stories? And did you know that we have neat mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.